So what we start with is a retention audit. And so we look at where's your current customers coming from? Who's been your loyal customers? We take who assessed, who came in was owning their problem, who got through the buyer's remorse, who did you acclimate in well, and all these, and who are your advocates for you? Who is like telling people or was telling people about you? And then what happened? Maybe you didn't reach out to them for a while, maybe some contact, maybe life got in the way and you guys lost contact for a while, but they were someone that told maybe 3 to 5 more people about you.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our lives. Well, today we have a wonderful guest to share with you, and she is a business, has a business consulting called True South Consulting. And the reason I wanted her on my show is because she just hit a chord with me when I heard what she did, because I have been talking about this for years. And I love having business consulting people on, because they give you a little bit of a different take on each thing, and I always learn something. But she is known for customer retention detective, and she helps you find business with your current customers, or if you're utilizing them, how to reward them, because they're your best marketers for somebody that is already receiving your services. And I think this is vital to most businesses, because I see what we call an upsell, where they can sell me different products and they don't. And they don't even know what I need, but they may be providing me a service. So I want to welcome Sara Barco-Owner to the show, and she is the owner of True South Consulting.
Thank you, Pamela. I'm so honored to be here. This is fun.
I hope you did you justice there. But
yes.
Yes, and I love to talk about, all right, this is not something that you started off with life, right?
No.
Even with your degree.
No.
All right, so share with our audience, who are you and why did you start this business?
Okay, so it never goes as planned, right? You're never on the path that you thought you were in the beginning. So I started off in social work. I think that's where my story really starts, where I started to kind of understand and get a feel for myself as the social services director of a nursing home. And that's really where I started to identify some of the strengths that I have, identifying clues of missing pieces. Okay. There were things when I would go through a patient's chart or a client's chart, and things were missed from one place to the next, from a hospital discharge into placement to when they were going to be returning home and things like that. That just did a disservice. They were missed opportunities that left the patient, the client, in a vulnerable place where we could find gaps that could help. And we were missing them. And so I found a real strength where I could see those clues very easily and come in to meetings with my interdisciplinary team and have found and uncovered things that they're like, I didn't see that, that was missing, or no one saw that, and that was a big piece. And so I really started to build on that, and I worked in that role for about 12 years. And then my health started to kind of deteriorate a little bit. I was really starting to in the social work world, you carry a lot. There's a lot of behind the scenes things. I was often, the person in the room where there wasn't family present, and that I'd be in the room when someone was, in their last stages of life. And that was heavy to carry. I started experiencing a lot of migraines and headaches and things of that nature, which led me into the chiropractic world. We actually had a chiropractic team come in and do some assessments, and I shared with them that I was having migraines, and they did a little scan and assessment and said, well, this is why. And so I went in and I had my treatment, and I started getting adjustments, and my migraines dissipated.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, what? This is amazing. I started telling everybody I knew about this chiropractor, to the point where he said, do you want to come work for me? Would you like to come in? I said, no, I have a job. I do this, I have a 401, I have all the things, right? And he was persuasive about 3 more times. My husband actually was the one that persuaded me to go into marketing and said, but what if you could actually take a health piece and help seniors on the other side of it, instead of when they get to the nursing home and trying to help them into their next stages of life. What if you could catch them before and help them keep their health and well-being up with alignments and strength, mobility, and things of that nature, and help them, have some preventative care. And I liked that angle of it. I liked being able to get on the other side of it, and I liked what was happening to me. I believed in the service that was being provided, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I became a yelling advocate. I was like just telling everybody, and so it was very easy for me to go in. So finally I accepted that role knowing nothing about marketing. Pamela, I knew, they said you have to join the chamber, you have to go out, and I said, what's a chamber? I had that's how unfamiliar I was with the marketing world. People would come in and seek me out for services for marketing, and I was never the one going out and doing it. And so I came from a very foreign space, but I realized very quickly that it wasn't enjoyable when I walked in someone's door. I've seen as kind of a solicitor in the beginning.
Yep.
And it kind of hit me hard in the beginning. Like, I just wanted to be friends. I wanted to figure things out. I wanted to connect. I just wanted to learn about people, but it wasn't seen the same way. So I really started to then figure out how to talk to people and go into businesses by allowing us both to take our guard down and not be transactional. Just really connect, hear one another, learn about one another, and figure out if there's a way that we can support one another in any way, great. If not, great, it's fine. So that's the angle that I took, and that really launched that practice. And I discovered that I had a gift in
That's
this.
exactly. It's
So
almost like you fall into it.
I
You
totally
find
fell
out
into
you're
it.
doing something, and all of a sudden you become very successful
And
in
I
one
loved
area
it.
of it.
And I had people asking me, what are you doing different? And that's when I realized I probably need to start consulting in this. And so that's kind of where it started.
And what is true self? True self?
Yeah, thank you. So True Self, it was really an acronym in the building that trust and the relationships and the understanding to experience something as one altogether. It's really become an evolution of just helping people really put their true self forward, talk to people in the human way, connect in that way, and do it authentically that's in alignment with their priority values and not what everybody else in the world is doing. Just do business the way you set out to do it for people.
Okay, so what is, okay, let's go in there. What exactly does loyalty strategics
Yeah, so
and is it retention detective do?
Yeah,
Let's talk about
yeah.
what, because this is really interesting. We talked on the phone. We could have talked for hours.
Yeah.
Because I deal with businesses all the time, and then I see where we talked about this. I have somebody that like a landscaper
Yeah.
come and whatever, and he notices other problems, and he doesn't. Nobody tells me because they're his workers.
Yeah.
Come and they're the ones that are doing the work,
Yeah.
right? And they're not noticing anything. And I go, why can't you
Yeah.
just told me? One time it was like this tree branch on our property and never noticed it was, they were going around it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, you might want to get this removed. And then one day I went out there. Not everybody, I don't walk my property
Yeah.
out there, but you know what I'm saying? They could have
Yeah.
came in and gave me some, hey, this is going on.
Yeah.
We'd like you, these are some of the people we've used, but you don't have to use them. But you might want to, call them up.
Yeah.
And I would have been, oh, okay, because I
Yeah.
have no clue what to do there.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, you almost needed like an advocate for you, someone that you needed to know that they were advocating for you too.
Right.
That they were coming on not just with their expertise, but as your advocate to like find every area that could benefit you, even if it felt hard to even if they felt like, oh, that's going to be an upsell, or that's going to be more for Pamela, or that's going to cost more, and that's not what we came out here for. You wanted someone maybe to advocate and show you all of the areas and then let you decide what was going to be best for you and what you wanted to do next.
Well,
So-
and I deal with my landscaper all the time. I'm the one that calls them, but I do think that, like you were talking about, having these relationships
Yeah.
of calling me up, maybe 6 weeks or 2 months into the service, and saying, look, I mean, we just want to follow up. How's everything going? And maybe they don't
Check
want to hear
in.
complaints. I don't really know.
But
anyways,
valuable.
and saying, how's the weeds going? Because you're not on our weed program, but I just want you to know that we understand it. You have other, But I would just tell David, I'm like, why don't they just send me a package? Say, you know what, this is what we're going to be offering. This is going to be the gold star if you want all of this done. And I would be looking at that, let me see. And there's some years you might be able to move to that. Maybe not every year.
Yeah.
But you understand
And I
that?
bet you some point in your conversation with your landscaper, you gave them those clues, but they didn't pick them up. And so as a loyalty strategist / retention detective, there's a couple sides of what I say those kinds of pieces are. Loyalty is retention to me. I feel like I can't think of a single situation where retention happened without loyalty. And I can't think of a situation where, like, if loyalty or if retention didn't happen and loyalty wasn't missing in the concept of it. And so they go really coincisive together, if that's the right word. They go together well. And so what I discovered on the loyalty side of things, I help my customers, I advocate for my customers. And so I help the client speak the language of the customer. And so I help them have consistent language. I help them be intentional with their language and really show them the whole entire path of the journey that they're going to be taking. Like, let's not keep things a secret. Let's be open with what we want best for you. What do you want for your lawn? What are the major things that, and really hear those pieces and consistently work on that. The retention side of that is there are these 7 stages along in the loyalty framework.
And what are they?
Well, I'll tell you a few of them. So the L is when they're looking, right? And so the looking part is when you are looking for your landscaper. You're checking them out on LinkedIn or on their social media platforms. You might be looking at their reviews or their testimonials.
No, I'm looking at my friends,
right?
asking them.
Yeah, and your friends. You're talking to your people.
Who do you
You're
have?
asking who you know, right? There's so many different avenues that people look for people. And when they're doing that, they're kind of doing their own little bit of research, right? And then when you get to the O in the loyalty part.
But if my friend is happy, even if I read those reviews and my friend is happy, you know, because I understand that you have people that kind of sabotage your business and they can write bad reviews, or they had a bad experience and it was resolved and never got taken off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's things like that, or they're just mad because maybe they didn't think they should have been charged, which they probably should have. But we get disgruntled customers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at my friend. Are you happy
with
the service you've received? Yes.
Yeah.
And I know, and they'll name, you know, oh, they come every Thursday. They're pretty loyal. They'll let me know if they can't make it, whatever. I've never had
Your
my
friends
landscaper.
are going to tell you.
Yeah. And then I'm more apt to pick up the phone.
So then you move into the O, which is owning the problem, right? So then your friend tells you, I love this landscaper. This is what they did. They don't like go into the details of who their name and their company and how long they've been in business. They share their experience with you, right?
Right.
And so then you can go from a looking phase into an owning your challenge phase, which is your lawn. And you just heard from your friend what a great experience, and now you think, all right, I'm going to own this as mine, and acknowledge that they probably have a solution to the challenge that I'm owning because my friend told me that.
Yes.
And these phases go in order, right? You have to be looking first to have that experience come to you, to own it and say, that's the person that I want to do business with.
Right.
And then that becomes the ownership of it, where you decide, you make that decision. And then there's this why, which is yelling for affirmation, right? You need some affirmation from that landscape company that the price is right, like the time, the energy, and the money are all going to make sense for what has. If you have to
write
go
that
out,
check.
right? If you have to go out in your lawn and do half the work and pay them this amount, it's not going to make sense, right?
No.
If you have to pay this astronomical amount, but they're only going to do one little thing, it's not going to make sense. So the pieces have to line up from there to there for you to even get to be to the point where you're like, yes, you're my person. I'm your customer. Those are the top 3 phases, the phases that have to happen first before any money is exchanged, any time or energy, any contract is signed. Those are 3 things that happen in the very first part of that. And I often hear people refer to retention as like, oh, this is what happens after the sale. Retention comes as the long-term game, but retention and loyalty, I believe, actually happen before the sale is even made, in these looking and owning the problem and affirmation phases.
So
right
give me
here.
an example with that.
So when you look, and we'll just keep with your landscape example, your landscaping, when you're looking to determine if they're the right ones, right, and if you're going to stay with them, as you're looking and investigating that process, there are clues that they are laying down that you are picking up as the customer. You're deciding, is the price right? Is the timing right? Is the energy right? Can they do the work? My friend told me they could. There's these little clues that you've picked up along the whole entire way. When you let that landscaping know that they're the one for you, I bet you told them why you needed them, right? Like, here's what I need done.
I'm pretty chatty on the phone as that one.
Did you tell them probably the challenge you were having, why you don't want to do this work, why it's gotten to this point, why you're looking to hire them, what's happened in your lawn, what the problems are? These are big clues that if we're listening well, and this is like a game changer for companies to think about loyalty and retention, if we're thinking about those first 3 phases and we're owning them well and we're listening to that person own their problem, when you owned the problem to the landscape company, if they were listening really well, if anything in phase 3 and buyer's remorse came about, like you said, this isn't affordable for me, this isn't within my budget, they could take everything that you said in phase 2, right, and that owning the problem, say, but Pamela, you just told me you didn't have time for this. You just told me this was way above and beyond. I'm telling you, we can come in and do this for this price. Yes, it's gonna cost this much, but this is what it's gonna save you. And they can call back everything that you told them if they were paying attention.
Right.
And that's what we need to help our customers do. Instead of thinking of it as like, oh, I'm gonna call them out. No, we're not manipulating, but we wanna listen to what our customers' pain points are so that if we have a solution that can truly help them and is best for them, that we can help them get there, because everything else is going to try to pull them away. Our time, money, and energy are very important to us.
Yes.
And those are big buyer's remorse things that always come up. But if we can identify what areas of the buyer's remorse are rising to the top for our customers, we can navigate them so much better the right way into doing the business, if it's the right move.
Okay, so let's talk about when you go into a business,
Yeah.
right? Business calls you up, because I do believe that marketing is important.
Yeah.
To be out in the public and
Yeah.
getting new customer, but I do think your existing customers are your best marketers.
100%.
And so how does that process work? Like, I'm going to call you up and say, okay, GRTV Media, I've been doing the show for 8 years now.
Yep.
I've got all these, and I'm looking for guests, and I can't seem to, it's so hard to, and let's talk about that, Pamela. You're looking for guests, you're looking for people to come in, to come in like you are yourself, and then you say, but you've interviewed all these people.
Exactly.
And
Let's talk to them.
Yeah, let's talk to them. What can they do for you?
Yeah.
To find out. Would that be the process, or what?
Yeah, so what we start with is a retention audit. And so we look at, where's your current customers coming from? Who's been your loyal customers? We take who assessed, who came in was owning their problem, who got through the buyer's remorse, who did you acclimate in well, and all these, and who are your advocates for you? Who is like telling people, or was telling people about you? And then what happened? Maybe you didn't reach out to them for a while, maybe some contact, maybe life got in the way and you guys lost contact for a while, but they were someone that told maybe 3 to 5 more people about you
That
before.
is a true scenario,
right?
What you're just saying, yeah.
Yeah, and so
life
it's
gets
looking
away
at,
from me.
Life gets away from all of us, and so if we're not keeping people in our center, we're gonna lose them. And so I help my customers keep those people, like come up with a way that we can keep them in the front, and reach out in a way that's honest, and reach out in a way that's not for our own benefit to say, I was thinking of you when we really weren't. But let's be really thoughtful on how we're thinking of them, and then reaching out to them to say, here's what I'm looking for. Like Pamela, or you could say, Sara, you have referred 3 to 5 more people. After you did the show, you brought in 3 to 5 more people. Can I talk to you about why you did that? Like, what was it that made you want to go out and share more people about what I did here? What was that cool part of the experience that you shared? It's talking to our people. What did they experience? What did they love? What did they not love? Like, what would help them tell more people about it for us?
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it's helping people just discover those clues, right? What are the clues that I left to you that you can use to bring in more people into your audience?
What are you surprised when you go into businesses that hire your services and you're looking at that, what are one of the things you notice right away?
I notice that they're so wrapped up in their world, and we all are.
Silos, right?
We are in our world. We are in our movements. We know what's happening day to day, and we know the motions, and we get in our rhythm, and we do work. That we don't see things that are right on the surface that other people can see. So I can often come in and see these missed opportunities. That's what I call them. Is like like the kid on the movie that says, "I see dead people" from Ghost. I'm like, I see missed opportunities. I can see them all the time when I go out to eat, when I'm in a bank, when I'm in a dentist, when I'm anywhere that's a service-based industry. I see these missed opportunities that a customer is sharing things with us, and there's just nothing reciprocated. And an opportunity. I'll take chiropractor as an example, because they're a familiar client of mine. They're a big client. They often have a lot of patients coming in and out. And sometimes, and dentists are the same way. There's a lot of people coming in and out, and sometimes we lose track when people leave. We don't even notice when they're gone.
Right.
And we don't maybe need to. Sometimes we're so busy that we're like in the own zone, and we're like, oh, it's fine. Until then we do. And we're like, where did all of our revenue, our returning patients go? Why aren't they rescheduling their appointments? And we're forgetting things that have happened in the midst. So when I come in, I actually do an observation in my retention audit, and I sit and I observe some interactions between the industry organization and the customer. And then I can usually immediately find 3 to 5 things that were missed in the just in the day-to-day and what was happening in that situation, and say, did you hear the customer say this? Or did you notice that customer's body language? Did you notice them question that they didn't know about this service charge? Like, these are clues, and even someone questioning something can tell us, it can reveal a lot. And so big gaps are not always super evident to the person in the midst of their day-to-day,
Right.
but can be seen once revealed. They're like, oh, I can't unsee that anymore. Once I know that's happening, I can't unsee that that's happening.
I hate service charges. I know that they're, but there's something, if you would say, if you'd like to bring a check instead of a credit card, there won't be a service charge. But I would bring a check.
Yeah.
And you get there and it's like, it's going to be another, it's $3 service charge. I understand that they have to do that because they get charged.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, I would have brought cash, or I would have paid.
You're telling them a solution. You're telling them the problem. And sometimes we don't listen to when a customer is questioning something with us and saying, oh, I wish I would have known that, or I didn't know that was going to happen, or, oh, shoot, I didn't know you raised your prices, or I didn't know this was going to be part of my appointment today. That's when you need to pull back and say, that was a clue. Like, they're telling me something that we need to adjust and pay attention to. We're not communicating something that our customers need to know. And our customers do not leave loudly. They do not like boisterously go, I'm out, see you later, bye, peace out. They like tiptoe out and don't tell us because they don't want to ruffle. They don't want to hurt our feelings,
Right.
especially depending on what phase they're in. If they were higher along the journey in the framework, they don't want to hurt our feelings. So they're going to quietly leave, see if we notice, and when we don't notice, we just affirmed that they were right.
Right. I agree with that completely. All right. So who is your ideal customer?
A service-based business. So people that might notice that their customers were really excited about their offer in the beginning, and man, that is a really good offer. I'm going to take you up on that, and then crickets. Or when referrals aren't generated, and all of a sudden referrals are dropping off, and they thought, man, these customers were really happy, they were referring, and now all of a sudden it's stagnant. What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's those kinds of service-based, customer-facing businesses where I can come in and do some really great detective work
To find out what it is.
to
So
find out what it is.
Why didn't you close on this?
Yeah.
What is the concern? Are you able to negotiate? Maybe there's might be some skills you need to learn there. All right, so that's your idea. Just a service-based business is what you like to. So you work for the company, not an individual. Just
I can work for solos if they, for someone like a solo doctor, or solo dentist, or solo industry, or solo, entrepreneur. We really need to make sure that person is able to have time to solve the mystery is the thing. So I work with teams really well, and so usually finding out who on the team is responsible for what and what we can delegate and what areas need to be worked on. There's some, with teams, there's sometimes some EQ training. There's just some sort of like empathy and self-awareness and customer awareness things that can be brought into the piece. So it's doing an audit, it might be doing some training, but it's definitely teaching the framework. These are your phases. Your customers always start here. They are always looking, and you don't know they're looking. We don't know when people are on our LinkedIn. We don't know when people are talking to our friends about us, right? We don't know when they're owning their problem. We know when they are needing that affirmation and they're like, yes, I want you. That's when we start to become part of that puzzle. And then from there on, we get to join in and be part of that journey. So it's helping my customer, my client know where their customer is doing things on their own and when they get to come in and be contributors along the rest of the journey.
You're fixing
for them.
my problem. You know, that's what I'm saying. Fixing my problem. That's all I tell people. I'm like,
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm doing.
interested in the process. I'm not interested in your backstory.
Get to the root.
Can you fix my problem? And give me a
Yes.
budget of what this is going to cost me. Now give me these, things that I didn't foresee. Like,
Right.
oh, we forgot about this or that.
Yep.
Maybe like we talked about that. A package. Give me 3 options. This one's the gold star. This is the average. Most people pick the middle usually. And then there's this one that we can get you started so I can see if you're going to
What it
deliver
is.
on what you have
Yeah.
promised, right?
Yep.
You deliver on that, then I'm more apt to go up the higher one, like I'll go up higher.
Yeah.
And go up higher, and then and then I get a discount for if you pay all this, like talking
Yeah.
landscape.
Yep.
We pay by a certain time. We get for the next year. It's a discount. My husband never misses it. He's the best customer ever. You
I love
would.
it.
All right. Is there anything that we haven't discussed here that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to know, like something that you just said too, is my role as a consultant where I come in is that I don't want to be the call you always have to make. The customer always is like, I need to bring in Sara again. I need to bring in Sara. What I really try to do is teach my customers how to be their own detective.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Be detectives.
Let's give you the toolkit. Let's give you your detective kit. Let's help you start to see the missed opportunities so you can't unsee them anymore. And then you know how to solve the mystery going forward. So
That is basically, well, we talked about Toastmasters International. Everybody knows I'm part of that. And we teach people to
Yeah.
be the evaluator.
Yep.
You're being
That's it.
evaluated at first in your public speaking. You start overcoming your fear, and then we train you to the leadership part of it, of the program.
Yeah.
And then you become the evaluator. So when you can go to events, you start to notice all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you could have done it so much, Not that everybody wants to hear that, but you see some people that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get paid for this and you do.
Yeah.
Not that they're not doing a good job, whatever. Okay, anything else that we wanted to cover before before we sell up? Our time is up here.
No, I think probably the last thing I would end with is start really engaging and listening to the customers and start just kind of taking a pause and hear what they're telling you. There are clues every single day. There are clues that our customers are leaving us, and if we can step back a little bit and help find those, we're going to create better experiences. We're going to continue to retain the customers, keep that momentum, and end up with loyal advocates that are going to just keep referring us because we're paying attention. And so that phase, those first 3 phases are just key. They're really gold into really like diving into getting long-term advocates, and that's the best part of the journey.
All right, so how can
Yeah.
they reach you and learn more about your services?
Yeah, so obviously on my website, TrueSelfBRM.com. TrueSelfBRM.com.
I'm not the only one that has to go off the cuff.
Yeah, go ahead and too much coffee. So where you can find that in the beginning, and then just reach out for a consult. I can do a retention audit, and I'd love just to get to know anybody that wants to talk retention and detective work, solve some mysteries.
All right, check out Sara. She will be your detective, and she is going to find ways for you to get more services or referrals from your current customers, and that's what we are all about. But I want to thank Sara Barco
Thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much. I
loved
appreciate it,
learning
Pamela.
all about this. I've been talking about this for years, and I'm always sad when people miss opportunities,
Yeah.
and I like people that solve my problems.
Oh, thank you.
I need problems. All right, this is Pamela Keim from GRTV Media. We will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.